Hello everybody, this is Cap of cODeAclysm, and I would like to welcome you to the 10th video in my beginner C++ tutorial series. So this is pretty exciting. We're getting into the double digits now, and to celebrate I thought we'd do a little project here. So welcome to the first project video. We're just going to make a simple little calculator that adds, multiplies, and subtracts. So we're going to start off by making some functions. Our first function is going to be the add function. So of course we want it to return an integer. I'm going to name it add. And we're not going to add any parameters this time. We're going to do all of that inside the function itself. So here we're going to declare two integer variables, int a and b, and then we are going to ask the user to enter the first number. We're going to store that in a. And then we're going to ask them to enter the second number. And we're of course going to store that into B. And then we are going to return A plus B. So there we go. We have our first function done. Now let's move on to our second. So now we are going to, of course, make another function with an integer return type. We're going to call this one subtract. And we can just copy this code here and move it down into here. But instead of returning a plus b, we're going to return a minus b. And our third and final function is going to be the multiply. And once again we can just copy this here, move it down to there, and return a times b. And so the next thing we need to do is put prototypes so that our program knows that these functions exist. So let's just put int add here, int subtract, and int multiply. And there we go. So now let's make the main here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is give them a list of actions to choose from. So we're going to say cout, what would you like to do? And then we're going to have our list. Oh, that's why it's doing that. Forgot the semicolon. It's the little things you got to watch out for, guys. So option 1 is going to be add. Option 2 is going to be subtract. option 3 will be to multiply. And of course, up here, we should probably declare a variable to hold their answer. And of course, we want it to be an integer to try to avoid doing any unnecessary conversions and whatnot. We'll call it choice. And down here, we will store their answer into choice. And the next thing we're going to do is make a switch statement. So we're going to say switch, and of course we're going to check arguments against choice. Or well, cases against choice. So case 1, if choice is 1, then we want to call the add function. And then break. If they choose 2, we want to call the subtract function. Of course, break. Case 3, if it's 3, of course we want them, or we want to call the multiply function. There we go. And break again. So for the last thing here in the switch statement, it's always a good idea to have a default, just in case they enter something really strange or unexpected. So we will print out that is not valid. End L. Okay, so let's save our project here and Control F5 to run it. So here we have our little menu. What would you like to do? I would like to add, and now our function is running. Enter the first number, 5. Enter the second number, 5. But you know what? I forgot to put a thing to print out what it returns. So let's just add that in here real quick. Okay, so now we should be able to get this puppy working. I want to add it. Enter first number, 5. Second number, 5. And we get 10 back, as expected. So there we go. We have our nice little functioning command line calculator that adds, subtracts, and multiplies. So I would just encourage you guys to take this code and kind of play around with it. And you know, that's how you learn. You're not going to hurt anything or mess anything up. Just kind of play around with it and figure out what works and what doesn't work. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. And if you did, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Or you can also follow us on Twitter at cODeAclysm. And I will see you in the next video.